Hey guys, it's JR. We're day 2, Big Apple Comic Con. I'm standing here with Eric Avari. How you doing, Eric?
I'm excellent. Thank you very much.
How you enjoying the con?
Hate it.
Yeah? It's just miserable.
Just miserable, man. I'm telling you, my hand's falling off. What can I say?
You were looking like you were having a lot of fun over there.
Yeah, it's all acting.
How many of these do you get to do?
Actually, I think I've only done about 6. I had to cancel on 3 of them, and that really sort of backed me off on it, because I hate doing that. So if there's something very contained, where it's just over a weekend or something, and I know I can make it for sure, then I'll commit to it. So this was perfect, and of course, to come back to New York is always a thrill.
Right, we love New York, except for that it's really cold right now.
I know, but there's so much stuff to do in New York that you don't care,
So everybody out there, we know that you're a great character actor. What is one of the things that you get the most response from at these cons? What does everybody come up and ask about?
Generally, it's like, now, was that a real language you were speaking in Stargate, or was it just gibberish?
All right, here's a question. Was that a real language that you were speaking in Stargate, or
Yes,
was it just gibberish?
yes! Yes, it was a real language. It's actually ancient Egyptian, and it drove us crazy, because it's like the strangest language. I don't know if you know anything about the origin of the language. That essentially what we have now are the hieroglyphs.
Right.
And the hieroglyphs are essentially the consonants. And the vowels have been dropped for brevity. Okay. It's sort of their shorthand. So Egyptologists of today go back and put in the vowel sounds. And it depends on the Egyptologist, and you'll get a different sound for each word and so on and so forth. But the biggest challenge was trying to make this sound like it was a language that that we've been speaking all our lives. We'd give it a rhythm and inflections and all that stuff. So it was a thrill, and I really had a ball doing that.
Of course, we're talking about Stargate.
That's correct.
How long of voice training? Tell us a little bit about the experience of Stargate.
Boy, that was swimming by. Mix a metaphor here, by the seat of your pants, because essentially my role in Stargate, the scripted role, has about 2 lines. It was until we actually got on the set and Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich, I'm so tired I can't even remember my own name, they would sort of say, yeah, well now, why don't you say thus and such here? It's like, easy for you to say. I got to say it in Egyptian, So I'd go running to our Egyptologist, Stuart, who had this computer, and back in the day, that in and of itself was sort of a novelty, and he'd pull it out and try to figure out how to say whatever it was that I was supposed to say, and after 20 minutes, he'd throw his hands up in the air and say, you can't say that. We don't have a word for it. And I was like, something close.
All right, give me something.
Yeah, give me anything. And then, the real demand was to try to memorize it, for one, and then make it, as I said, make it sound as if, we'd been saying it all our lives. So it was a very challenging part in that sense. The whole film itself was challenging to everyone involved because it was 130 in the shade. There was sand everywhere. Flu was rampant, and yet, given all of that, there were so many first-timers in this that, it was really Kurt Russell's first foray into the action-adventure.
Huge action, rolling
exactly. That's right. James was coming off Sex, Lies, and Videotape and playing that, that character, and he was coming into this. Certainly my first big, Hollywood movie. So, there was a lot of excitement, and people were just thrilled to be there, and the adversity almost was an added bonus. You know, it was what brought us all together, and you know, we had a commonality, and it was really a fun movie to make.
That's really cool. Our viewers in our chat room are a little curious. You have a couple of your fans in there, apparently, and they want to know what you think about Heroes and where it's going.
The only thing I have to say about Heroes is bring me back.
Right. You're a character that starts off dead.
I start up dead. I know I die in most of them, but this one was a first, and this one I started dead, for Christ's sake.
Was that something? Elaborate on that character a little bit. When you're approached, where they're like, "You're going to be Dr. Suresh, dead."
Yes. I was like, "Oh, I can do that."
Right. At what point were you involved with Heroes?
Actually, I was up in Vancouver shooting a movie, and I got a call from the agency saying, "Yeah, no, the series, it's Heroes, and it conflicts with a movie that I was supposed to do in Morocco." And I was like, "Oh, I can't do that. I'm going to Morocco, and I really want to do this movie." And
they really want to go to Morocco.
Yes, again, yes. And it was, you know, it was an A movie and all this stuff. Great, you know, wonderful director, terrific cast. And I was like, no, I'm got to do the movie. And fortunately, my agents were able to work it out, and the Heroes people were really gracious in rearranging the schedule, and we wound up shooting multiple episodes at once, you know, so that in and of itself was kind of interesting. It was like, okay, now, which episode is this?
now we're several years back, and it's this.
Right.
That's gotta be fun.
And in fact, at the time, Zach, who plays Sylar,
Zach Quinto,
had not been cast yet, but he was the guy who was going to kill me.
Right.
So it was like, who's killing me? Well, we don't know yet.
Sylar was under a hat for 6 episodes, so...
That's right. And so it was just the stunt guy, you know?
So your character's dead, and you don't know who killed you yet. Right. But it was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So, tell me a little bit about the feeling of being involved with something like that takes off from, you know, something like your character's dead, we don't know who's killing you, and also something like Stargate, where it's a movie and then 10 years of one series and another spinoff. You know, what's that like, being a part of something like that?
You know, Stargate was truly amazing. Although, you know, while we were shooting it, it was such a big movie.
Right.
You know, I'll tell you a story, actually, but it was like the third or the fourth day of the shoot, and James Spader and I were trudging through the sand dunes coming back to Point One, and you know, I was looking at the extras. There were just thousands of extras, right? And these huge sets that were just monumental, right? And I turned to James and I said, "Man, I've never been on a set like this," you know. And he said, "Eric, no one has." In that inimitable way of his. And he was absolutely true. I mean, it was a unique experience.
No.
And but you know, who was to know that this was going to take off in such a big way and spawn, I don't know how many series, you know, from it. So yeah, you kind of feel, you know, take a little pride in that we were the mothership, you know.
Right. The viewers are asking, what do you think about the whole universe that was created and went on from that, the spinoffs and stuff? What do you think about those?
It's tough for me to keep up, man. I mean, how many series has it spawned?
It's 10 years on Stargate SG-1, and then Atlantis has gone at least 8 or something like
that.
Yeah,
right. And then Galactica, and now what's the new one? Stargate the Universe.
Oh, Stargate Universe. What do you think about the universe?
I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. I'm sorry.
we won't tell them.
Like I said, it's hard to keep up.
Right.
You know?
So what do you think about Roland Emmerich's new film? I know that everything he does is huge, and you know, what do you think about the 2012?
You know, I haven't seen it yet, but I can't wait. I just love Roland Emmerich's sense of fun. He's so relaxed on a set, and you know what's unbelievable is I'm always very conscious of the money involved. You know, to break it down to the very simplest level. You know, when you've got 1,200 people on a set, that's a big-time money shot, right? And it just doesn't seem to faze him at all. You know, he still has a sense of humor. He's very light, and that is what